So this girl named Kirra Hart. You haven't heard nothing about the story? Well, she's from Australia, and I seen a video of her being beat up and basically tortured by her so-called friends that invited her over for a sleepover, and then when she got there, they were just beating on her, and it happened for, I believe they said around like 4 hours straight.
How old?
She's 14 years old.
Yeah.
And the other girls are probably like 13 and 14. And in the video, you can see that they're just laughing at her. And they're like, just don't block your face. Don't block your face. And they were just punching her. And you can just see her face is swollen.
They're recording it?
Yeah, they were recording it. There's multiple videos of it. And they have a knife and they're like poking her with it. So technically stabbing, but not like with full force, just kind of like doing that
to a part of her body,
to her arms, and I'm pretty sure other places, because there's multiple videos, but for some reason it was hard for me to find all of them. So I just seen like one or two of them. But from what I seen, and there's pictures of the aftermath, it was enough to know that like, damn, they did this girl dirty, like pretty bad. And I'm just explaining it because I'm about to play the video, and for some people, it might be like they don't like watching this type of stuff. It's not bad, but I'm just explaining it that way. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. But let me just play it for you so that way you can see what happened, and then we can talk about it.
Emerged of a 13-year-old girl lured to a sleepover where 3 other girls allegedly kept her locked up and then tortured her.
Put your hands out. Put your hands out. Don't fucking hide your face like a little bitch you are.
This is a different video.
Just like torturing her for like 4 hours straight.
But this is the girl confessing, right?
Fuck. So she's like full fucked up. Like all of a sudden you photos of her face.
This was afterwards. Yeah, this is not the video that I watched. And this is a 14-year-old girl though. And I'm like, how, like I never thought. Well, you have heard stories of, teenagers beating up or killing someone, but it's like, it seems like it's rare. But when I seen this, I'm like, people don't give a fuck. And then they were just making fun of, like, you don't think as a teenager, you don't think like there's consequences to this shit? Like, no. And especially like how people are so quick to do something, commit a crime, and then go straight to their phone. I don't understand. I don't understand why people do that.
It's just for attention.
It's just so
the
dumb.
only reason why you would upload anything that's like someone trying to flex, it's for attention or for an image. You want people to know that you're a certain way or you're a certain something.
But it's like it's like they don't know that they're basically snitching on themselves.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, people who do shit like that and get caught, you can only blame yourself.
Do you think they understand the severity of what they're doing? Because if they're just dumb. But I can see you're a kid. But so when you're a kid, right? Because what they did to her, they said, I believe they said they're going to be tried as adults. See, it said they tortured her for hours. It was 3 girls. They invited her to a sleepover.
I don't understand how they would, like, what they think was going to happen. They thought they were going to fuck her up and then she was going to go home and then it was going to be fucking no problem.
Especially to that extent. Like, if you just give her a normal, like, a couple hits and that's it. But the problem is that they just kept hitting her over and over again.
I think the girl, I'm not sure if they like, why would she go over to spend the night with these people? Maybe she thought they were really her friends or something. Like, I don't understand why she would spend the night with people that like this.
Maybe it's like trying to get accepted. And maybe these are like the popular kids or whatever. And they invited her and she was like, I'll go. But they invited her to do this. Well, here's another video. Maybe this video shows a little bit more of what I saw, but because the other one was just more of an explanation, not really showing. But let's watch this one.
Just get it over and done with. I'm trying. You don't punch my eye.
Hurry up, just punch her 2 more times.
Look, and just hitting her. She's not doing nothing.
ugly in my life.
Go. Oi.
Like, I'm sure she was scared that she was gonna die. That's why she
No.
wasn't
Why-
doing nothing
why-
because she's
but-
outnumbered. Look at her.
Why'd she say just don't punch me in my eye? Or she did don't punch me. What'd she say?
Don't punch me in my eye because her eye hurt. Probably she got punched already in the eye.
But there's I guess I
And
don't
she's
know.
like, "I'll punch you wherever I want, bitch," or some shit like that. I'm like, damn, how cruel kids can be, huh?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. But it's like you like, I'm sure now where if they're probably in jail, the ones that you said that they're going to be tried as adults. I'm not sure how many girls were there that were actually taking part, but they're gonna learn because like, I'm sure there's, even in the women jail, I'm sure there's fucking like girls or women who don't give a fuck. Same as like male jails. Who's just gonna test you, just fuck with you for no reason.
No, especially like what you go in there for. It becomes a problem. So I seen another video too of, supposedly it was one of the girls who was hitting her, and a bunch of guys caught that girl. I think it was 2, and they beat their ass. 2, like, just think it was like 3 males on 2 girls, and they beat their ass, and it was over that.
The dudes beat the girl's ass
Yeah,
because they were beating on a girl.
because they beat that girl. At least it was later on. I think like the next
Oh.
day or something. I don't know. I don't know how. That's something that I just seen, and they said that it was the girl who was beating on Kirra. So that's why they had her on the ground, and they were taking her shoes and stuff like that, and people were applauding that. But I'm like, people were saying like, we agree like with what you did, but it's like you have to have girls hit them. You can't be as males hitting them.
It just because maybe just because it's like the power you're hitting them with. It's like, it just seems fucked up. Like, it needs to be to be fair, huh? It just needs to be another girl fuck them up.
Yeah, but what's crazy is I was thinking, I'm like, these girls' lives is over. It's over.
Well, it's over as far as because of how people are gonna view them from now on.
No, over. Maybe not over because she didn't die, thankfully. But they're gonna be in jail for a long time.
I don't think it's gonna be that long.
You don't think so?
No, they'll probably give them like a few years max.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, because it's gonna be more than likely first time offenders. They're gonna play the part that they don't know their kids, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and because of that, they're probably only give them a few years. Especially because she wasn't harmed. She was harmed pretty bad.
She was damn near killed though, and they were stabbing her and stuff.
But she was gushing blood.
No,
So then,
but she was probably bleeding. Yeah.
but I think she was, other than the bruises and small cuts and stuff. I think they're gonna give them a few years max.
So what you think? How many?
They're gonna
years?
give them like 4 years,
4 or 5?
five max.
And they get out in 3.
Yeah, they get out 3 good behavior, maybe less, and then like, because I don't know shit about the criminal justice
And then
system,
especially
right?
because it's Australia. I don't know how they
You
do
know
shit
how-
over there.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but you know that freaking. Well, I'm not sure 100%, but from what I heard is that the people from Australia got there, the whole people who originally who inhabited the place were criminals. Like, a lot of I guess people didn't want to put them in jail, and because Australia was so dangerous from all the venomous animals, and how hot it is there, because the majority of the cities are around the coast for Australia. Then in the center, there's damn near nothing other than like a military base, a U.S. military base in the middle.
Mhm.
But because it's like it's super dangerous to be it's basically desert all in the middle. So the majority of people live around the coast, but the people originally were dropped off there because they didn't want them. They were a bunch of criminals. They just put them in there, and they're like, they're gonna die anyways. And then they ended up like building a village and shit, and then they ended up. Now there's Australia.
Oh. But I thought they were gonna give him a lot more time than that, because maybe I'm tripping. I was thinking like 10, 15, 20.
Nah, 20 if she died.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you really think about it, these girls, then if that's true, right? If they get let off for like 5 years, even 10 years, they're so lucky. They're so lucky because if that girl would have died, like not only is that on your conscience, right? But the amount of time you would be in jail, or if not, be there for the rest of your life. Because some crimes, it don't matter if you're first offender, depending on the severity of the crime, you will do life. And for them to be spending the rest of their life in jail, there's a lot of people who didn't get, so lucky. There's a lot of people who went into jail as kids. And I'm like, it's crazy that you can make one bad decision as a kid and then you get no second chances. And even though if it's a severe crime like murder, it just seems like as a kid you can't make a good decision as a kid. You're more likely to fuck up. And it reminds me of me, because it's like I didn't do crazy shit like that, but I'm just saying, like, you can get involved in some shit quickly, and then next thing you know, boom, somebody dies, something happens, and then your life's over. And it just seems like
seems unfair.
Yeah, it seems like unfair, but also they killed somebody. So it's like for the family, for the victim's family, it's like I want him to die in jail because he killed my brother or whatever, and it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like this is a kid. And I feel like he deserves a second chance, maybe.
I've thought about that too. From like the stories of, remember the kids that were throwing rocks over a bridge onto like a freeway?
Oh, yeah.
And one of them hit a car, and then I'm not sure if the rock instantly killed someone.
Yeah, they threw it. They were just dropping it down on the freeway, but because the cars are moving so fast, the rock hit the windshield of a car, right? And it went through and it killed the passenger in the car. It was either the passenger or the driver. I'm pretty sure it was the passenger.
And then they crashed into another car and all that shit, right? Or no?
No, I don't remember that. I just remember somebody died, and they figured out who it was, whatever. And I don't remember what was the punishment for that.
They did years, like a lot. Look it up, just so we know. But they did big, like a good amount of years. And that's the type of shit that I'm saying. Like, I'm sure these kids, kids are dumb. So I'm sure that their intention was never to kill someone. Just like the time when you were throwing rocks at the car when they were driving by, because it's just stupid shit kids do. So I'm sure that their intention was never to kill someone, that they were just doing something stupid.
And then it's such a severe shit as murder, and then next thing you know, you got a bunch of fucking time on your hand.
When you're a kid, I don't think you really think anything through. Especially depending on, I think it depends on your surroundings too. Who like the type of friends and shit, you get into more trouble like that.
Yeah, it says 3 Michigan teens. This happened in Michigan. I-75 rock throwing case got probation. Oh yeah, this is a different one. It said they were throwing rocks and that killed a motorist.
And they didn't
on Interstate 75.
They didn't do any time?
Were put on a probation after spending more than 3 years in custody. So they did 3 years.
It's just dumb. But it's like, I think, at what age do you think it's like it's no longer like you should know better? Like 16, 17? You should know better?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's because think back when you were 16. You're not the person you are today, and you were more likely to fuck up back then than you are now. We did a bunch of dumb shit as kids. So it's like, that's why I'm like, when I see, because there's documentaries of, I think, people who killed somebody when they were like 11, 12, and they're still in jail today. And they had an interview with him, and the guy who was in jail for forever, he said that he understands. Like, he's like, I understand that I killed somebody, so, I have to do my time, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But at the same time, he's like, yeah, I was a kid. Like, and I'm still being punished for a mistake that I made over like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm still being punished. And it just seems like you can sympathize with somebody like that who's been behind bars forever. And it's crazy that one little thing could put you behind bars forever. And especially because it's not even always just them. Like, I'm going to kill somebody today. No, it's like them and their friends. They're like, oh, we're going to go rob somebody. And they have a gun on them. and they go into the house, and then something happens, and they shoot them because they're scared. They shoot the homeowner, and then they just kill somebody, and then boom, they go to jail.
And even if you're not the dude that pulls the trigger, huh?
Yeah,
They still charge you with murder, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know how that is if with kids, if they do that with kids as well. But I know they do that with adults. That's why it's hella crazy. That's why you got to think as a kid to not take the shit to the extreme. Just fist fight, huh? If you have a problem, fist fight, and always make sure it's consensual. Huh? It's both ways. If it's both ways, is more different. Like there's some states that allow mutual combat, 1-on-1, and the cops be the referee. You know that? You could tell them.
Texas.
You could tell them like, hey, and I think that's like you could do that probably like in your yard or whatever. But even fighting is dangerous as a whole, because somebody can die if you take somebody down. Somebody can tie a bunch of stuff. But that's the way you gotta. The likelihood of you dying in a fight, I don't know what it is, but it can't be that high, right?
I think just slamming, when you start slamming people, I think that's pretty dangerous. But as far as if you just stand up and just throw fists, I think.
And then somebody goes to sleep and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And it's over.
But if he fell and he hit his head, then he can die. But
well, I've been seeing a lot of fights, a lot of videos, and a lot of people when somebody goes to sleep, a lot of people are quick to stop it. And these are children, like 16, 17. So it's something good there of like he's had enough. And there's somebody either stopping it and not just letting this dude keep beating on him.
Yeah, there's gotta be, I think if both parties agree, then fuck it. But whenever, because I've heard and I've also seen where people don't want to fight, and because the other person knows he don't want to fight, he thinks like he thinks he's a badass because the nigga scared.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just trying to make himself look a lot tougher or whatever reason.
But like the problem is there's people who approach somebody to fight, and that person is scared or doesn't want to fight, and then they still beat their ass. That's a problem. Like you shouldn't do that. Like and I don't see. It's like you already won. Like there's been times in high school where that's happened to me, where I've had problems with somebody, and I've been by myself, and they've been with 10 people, and all of a sudden they ramble. You know, they're going crazy, yelling at me like there's something, right? And then I've approached them in school 1-on-1 in the hallways, right to his face, and what's up now? Like, what you want to do? And I'm blocking the stairway. And you could tell, like, it shows nothing but weakness. In that stairway, I was running that shit. And because I seen that he didn't want it, I'm not a bully. When I seen he didn't want it, I'm not going to wail on you. I'm not going to beat the shit out of you. I just let you pass because I can tell. Because you didn't say nothing. You stayed mute. So I just let you pass, and it is what it is. And I don't go brag. I don't go tell nobody nothing, tell the school nothing, because now me and you know that you're a bitch. Because it was the 1-on-1. And so there's no need to get my fist, no need to throw fists. Because it's already established. I'm the big dog when it comes to this, right? Or else we were going to throw it down right there. But a lot of times too, it's people who start stuff that don't want to fight. And it's like, don't start stuff. That's my advice to people. Don't start shit with people, especially because you don't know people. People are so quick to talk shit to somebody they don't even know, and then be so surprised when something happens.
Especially because you don't know people. I feel like a lot of people underestimate others just because they feel like, oh, like just maybe on appearance or whatever. Like you told me, like that dude that you told me about that prison story. Remember that prison story you told me about that dude that was really quiet?
Oh yeah.
Tell that story, because it seems like that's a perfect scenario story as far as like someone who's quiet and then people want to fuck with him.
Yeah, well, this comes from $1 Million Worth of Game. It's a podcast. If you don't know who it is, I'll put like a picture up. You should go listen to them. Like, you should subscribe to them. They're hella good. But this story came from Wallow, which was one of the 2 co-hosts on the podcast. And he talked about how when he was in prison, there was this guy there who was always stick to himself. He would just mind his own business, and he would read. He would read a lot, right? And he would always stick to himself. He wouldn't like, I think he said like he would always go to his cell instead of just being out in, I don't know what they call it.
In the yard?
No, not in the yard, like where they eat and stuff like that. I don't know what it's called, but instead of going there, he would just stay in his cell. And then one day he came and into his cell, and his stuff was missing. And he's like, in prison, you have what they call, he said, good neighbors. And what that means is the person in the cell next to you would advise you, like, hey, somebody was in your cell, was going through your shit. And somebody told him, the guy that got his shit taken, they told him, hey, his neighbor told him, hey, I seen this dude in your cell, and now his shit's missing, right? So he went up to the guy and told him, hey, I don't want no problems. Just give me my stuff back. He's like, I don't want no problems. And then the guy's like, get the fuck out of here, something like that. Replied to him in that manner. And he told him again, listen, man, I don't want no problems. I just want my stuff back. Can you give me my stuff back? And then again, he's like, fuck out of here, some shit like that. All right, whatever. And then that was it, right? Like 2 weeks go by. And nothing happens, right? So everybody in the pod was saying, oh, he's a bitch, right? Because he didn't do nothing. He got his shit taken, and he didn't do nothing. He didn't fight or nothing. And then he had I believe he said it was a lock in a sock or something like that. And he had caught the dude off guard one day, and he just started wailing on him with the lock in the sock and busted his whole face in. Literally had him on the ground and was hitting him repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And he said busted his shit wide open, damn near killed him. And he was so mad, he was looking for somebody else too, something like that, right? But he damn near killed him. And after that, what is it called when they got separated by the guards? I'm not sure. I don't remember the full story. But when they got separated and everything, when it came down to when they went to court, the guy he fucked up, he ratted on him. He took the stand on him.
And said, oh, he said, one?
Yeah, he's the one who did this, and he's the one that he did this to me, this, whatever. He snitched on him. And the guy who was the quiet guy was only supposed to be in prison for like 5 years. Something like that. But after that guy snitched on him, they added more time because he damn near killed him. And now he was doing like 30 or 40 or something along those lines. But like a lot more time. And he was saying like, it's crazy that you can go in there and shit like this can happen. And you just get in a situation like that where you have to defend yourself for somebody trying to do something to you. And then boom, you got that much amount of years. But I mean, he did take it a little bit to the extreme, right? Because he beat the shit out of him with a lock, and I'm pretty sure his intention was to kill him. But it just goes to show you, like, it's fucked up. A lot of shit's fucked up, and a lot of things the way it is.
I think the system is fucked up. The system in jails is fucked up because it seems like it's just law, even though it's like not really, but it's like law. You go in there, someone fucks with you. If you don't do shit, it's going to continue to happen, or it's going to get worse. So, and if you do something, then you get more time added to your sentence. So it just seems like that's fucked up for the people that go in there for a short term and then.
But that's I think if you fight, a lot of times they let it go. I've heard a lot of things of even the guards don't give a fuck. They just ask you, are you good? You want to report it? And nah, and that's it. But from what I've heard, you have to fight. If you step in prison, you have to fight. But it just goes to show, like, you shouldn't fuck with people. People you don't. There's no reason to, though. There's no reason to fuck with people. Like, the majority of my life, I've been on defense. There's been some times where I was on offense, and there's moments where I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But the most of the time, I've been on defense, meaning I only react when somebody does something to me. And then sometimes I'm left feeling like the bad guy because shit happens. Like, I remember one time I was in high school and I was in class, and there was this kid behind me, and I always had my backpack on because we always had our backpack on in high school. We never took them bitches off. So I'm sitting down in the desk and I got my backpack on, and this kid, he like was reaching for my bag, and I don't know what he was doing, but I felt like somebody, you know how you have that feeling? I had that feeling of like he's trying to fuck with my shit or something. So I looked, and then he acted like nothing was happening. So I didn't know for sure. And for me to react, I have to know for sure. So I just let it go. And then again, probably like a minute later, people were laughing, like giggling and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck, people giggling behind me? And I looked, and he didn't have his hand there. And I said, hey, you better not be messing with my stuff. Better not be touching my shit. I turned around, whatever. And in my head, I'm like, if I catch him, watch. Because why you fucking with me? I don't know you. I never met him, anything. He was just in my class. And then again, I felt it again. And this time I turned around and I caught him. And I don't know what he was doing. It seemed like he had a piece of tape or something. I'm not really sure what he was doing. But I had caught him like reaching for my bag. And I don't know if he was trying to open the zipper. I don't know if he was trying to put a note on the back of my back or my backpack. I don't know what he was trying to do. But I had already warned him. I had already told him, you better not be touching my shit. And he didn't listen. And I guess he thought like, what's gonna happen, right? So when I seen that and everybody was laughing, I'm like, I already gave him a warning. So I got up and I said, I told you don't touch my shit. And I backhanded him.
Hard?
Well, how people reacted, it was hard, but I wasn't putting like 100%. It was kind of like that. And I just backhanded him, and everybody was like, oh, whatever. And I ain't no sucker, so I'm like, get up. I could have just punched him, but I'm like, nah, get up. Let's fight. Right.
In the middle of the classroom?
Yeah, I told him, get up.
The instructor's like,
get up, and I squared up right there. I squared up, and he didn't get up. He didn't get up, and he had his head down. And then right away, I'm like, oh, he don't want it, right? He don't want it. And the same thing going back to, I'm not going to hit you if you don't want to fight, right? But I had to smack him because he wasn't listening to me. And you can't just touch somebody's stuff. You can't touch a stranger's stuff. And that's why I hit him. And then after I hit him, and I just sat back down because the teacher saw, right, that I was standing up. I don't know if he saw that I was squared up, whatever. And he just said,
did he smack him?
No, I don't think he seen me smack him because he didn't say anything. I think he thought we were just arguing. And he said, sit down. And then I just sat down. And then the whole time I'm like, he's behind me, right? He's behind me. I'm still in front of him. The whole time I'm like, if this fool punches me from my back of my head, I'm gonna have to go off on him. But he just kept his head down the whole time. He kept his head down the whole class. And then he didn't come in the next day. And then the next day he didn't come in either. And then a girl who knew him, she came to me and she's like, I don't know, we were talking or something. And then she's like, he don't want to come because he's afraid that you're going to hit him. And I'm like, that made me feel bad because I'm like, I'm not no bully like that. And I told her, tell him he can come into the class. I'm not going to touch him. The only reason I touched him was because he wasn't listening to me. He was touching my stuff and I don't know him. I don't know him like that. And he's over here touching my stuff. That's the only reason I hit him. Tell him he can come back to class and everything's fine, whatever. So like the next 2 days pass, he's still not here. And then like the third day, he walks in like he's coming into class, and then he sees me, and then he turns around and he leaves. And I'm like, I don't know. I think he got scared or something like that. And he ended up moving schools. And when I heard that, I'm like, that made me feel fucked up because I that was not my intention. My intention was not to put fear in him or to like make him not want to come to school no more. I just had to smack him because he was touching my shit. But it's because we come from different worlds. Like I'm from Stockton, and if you smack anybody in Stockton, it's on. Like you're gonna fight. Like over there is, I don't think I've ever seen, maybe once or twice. The majority of times when you tell somebody to fight, they fight. In Stockton. Every time. So I come from that. So I have that mentality in my head that if I smack you, it's on, right? Because I just smacked you. But when I heard all that he was scared and stuff like that, it made me feel bad because I'm like, damn, like I didn't want, that was not my intention for him to do all that. And
that's why I tell people, whenever I meet anyone, I can tell from, I always show respect to everyone regardless, right? No matter what, if you're older, younger, doesn't matter. I always show respect. But when I get a street vibe from you, I'm like, oh, I can feel it. Like, oh, this dude for sure.
He's gonna be a problem, or
No,
he's
he's not gonna
somebody
be.
to look out for.
He's someone where like I treat him with respect. It's not like fear. Nothing. It's just respect to everyone. But I know, like I can tell, like, oh, he's a street nigga. I already know. Not so. Like, I'm not gonna treat him any more different. It's still gonna be respect. But I know I can tell, like, I get a vibe. I can tell, like, oh, he's one where if somebody fucks with him, he's not gonna take it with his chin down type shit. Like I can tell right away, like, oh, like, I'm trying to think of someone that's similar to the dude I met at work that he just pulled up one time, and I'm like, oh, they're always cool, they're respectful and stuff, but I can tell, like, oh, he comes from the street. I can tell by his body language, and by the way
he handles
himself. I'm like, this dude, the street dude for sure, 100%. You can tell other people too, like regular people. You can tell they're regular people just by how they carry themselves.
But even though somebody you may consider a regular person, like you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know, and that's why when I smacked him, right, the whole class was like, oh, and then after he after the next day or when we were leaving class, I think it was, everybody was like, oh no, there was this one kid. He was sitting across from me, and he's like, damn, bro. He's like, I didn't know you was with that like that. I didn't know you would do something like that. And I told him, and he said, because you're always so quiet. Because I always just mind my business. A lot of times in high school and places like that, I was always the quiet kid. But it wasn't quiet because people took quietness as shyness, but it was really like minding my own business. And I don't think people understand, because this is like, I come from Stockton. So I just mind my own business, and a lot of times people are like, he's the quiet kid. So maybe that's why he thought he can do something to me and nothing would happen. But that's why he was like, yeah, I was surprised that you did that. And I was like, hey, I told him, I don't fuck with nobody. I don't fuck with nobody, ever. But when somebody does something to me, I'm going to do something. I have to do something.
That's how I am too. At every job, with every person I've ever met at school, doesn't matter. I've always been hella quiet, never said nothing to no one, because I always feel like if you keep to yourself, the likelihood of getting into trouble, the likelihood of somebody starting shit with you is less, right? Because I never want no beef. I even never want no trouble. I don't want any of that shit in my life, right? But when somebody brings that to you, like, what you don't have, there's no choice.
Right, you have to do something.
When we first came over here out for high school, I was terrified, because I knew, cause coming from Stockton, everybody always told me high school is where shit goes down. Especially people who went to like Stag.
Yeah.
People went to the actual high schools that were in the hood. They were like, oh, people are gonna fuck with you. People are gonna test you. That's when shit because I think middle school was like really, really intermediate. Like not even intermediate, like beginner. Like there's shit that went down, but it wasn't. I felt like high school because of everybody telling me the shit that goes down there. The rumbles and shit that people would get into, I'd be like, okay, I've always thought that high school, because in my head as a 13-year-old kid, the high school in Stockton is the high school everywhere in the whole world. And
as far as like what goes down in the high school, right?
Yeah, yep. And I never thought people in Michigan, people in Texas were different. I always thought everywhere in the whole United States is the same as it is here. Right, as far as when it came to how people carry themselves and the type of people that you came across, I thought that was everywhere. I never really understood that it's different. It's different everywhere. So coming here, going to high school, I was thinking like, trying to prepare myself mentally, like if anybody fucks with you, you can't let it slide, right? And I'm like, I don't have anybody here. I don't have no one who like to, as far as backup. I don't have no friends. I don't know anybody. I'm not sure how like who fucks with who. So my mentality was like, don't say shit to no one. Like keep to yourself. Don't say shit to no one, and hopefully nobody fucks with you. That was my mentality. And the first day of high school, I don't even remember what period it was, but I was sitting and there's a kid next to me, and I didn't do shit to him. And then the nigga's like, like it was towards like the middle of the class. He's like, I don't like you. And I didn't know, he looked like he was just being serious. I didn't know if he was joking. He didn't look like he was joking. He just like, I don't like you. And I was like, well, I don't like your ass either then. And he's like, I'm gonna beat your ass after class. And I'm like, all right, well, then we'll see each other after class then. Right? And then that was it. And then in my head, I'm like, fuck, like it's first day. It's like the first day, and I didn't do anything to him. And then I'm in my head, because for whatever reason, my head's always thinking like every possible scenario. Because in Stockton, it's like you fight this dude now because he knows this guy and this is his brother and he's involved with these crew or whatever. Now all these dudes don't fuck with you. Yeah. So then I'm like, fuck, man. I just started here, and this dude, I don't even know. I just sometimes I overestimate like who he knows, who the other person knows. I'm like, man,
like you just think heavily on the whole situation.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, I'm about to have issues with everyone. So then my head's just going crazy. Like, oh fuck, like they're probably he probably got people that there's probably gonna be outside. It's gonna be 1v4 type shit. But I was starting to get nervous and stuff. And I was like, well, what? If he throws a punch, then it is what it is. Then the bell rang. And when I went outside, because it was him, and I was like a kid or two behind him, and he kept walking. He never stopped. He kept walking. And I'm like, I thought because he kept walking, I just kept walking too. Because I thought he was going to stop, wait for me right outside the door. But he never turned around. He kept walking, and then I never seen him again. After that, I never seen him again. Now, I'm not sure. Oh, no, I did see him again. But this was like 2 years later. But he was here, like at lunchtime, I seen him one time. But he never said shit to me ever again. And nothing bad ever came from it. But I was like, I remember when he kept walking, I'm like, damn, thank God type shit. Because I didn't want to start off school like this, having any problems with a bunch of people that I had no idea. So I'm like, I don't know. I was like, fucking, I got lucky, I guess.
But that's weird though. Why would he even say that? And why would he say, I'm gonna beat your ass and just walk away? That's the type of shit I'm saying, because you don't know who's who and who's willing to do what. Some people are crazy as fuck. So just to be saying that.
And I feel like the likelihood of I remember that one time when because every time after school rang, right, we would walk. Sometimes I would find you, or sometimes we just walk to the front of the school. But the majority of times we would find each other, right? And then we would walk to where we get picked up by our parents across the street.
Yeah.
And there's this one time so our school had different floors. First floor, second floor, third floor. And we were on the third floor. And we were walking to my locker or to your locker. I'm not sure where we were walking, somewhere. And there's this kid that walked by me, remember? And I had my book in my hand, and my book had a bunch of papers inside it. And he just walked by. Like, I knew the kid. I knew him, but I didn't fuck with him like that. I never fuck with anybody to this point where they can do this to me. So I had my book, me and you were walking, and then he smacked the book out of my hand. You remember?
Yeah.
And then the papers went everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, what the hell? And then I looked, and then the kid laughed, and he kept walking. And I picked my shit up. And I remember I looked at you, and then you're like, you're going to let this nigga do that to you?
Yeah, because it's like, to me, I was like, you can't. Stockton shit, right? Because I didn't know who that was. And I just seen him do that to you. And I think you said like you know him or something like that. And I'm like, still, like you can't.
I knew him by like, because I knew other people, and he hung out with the other people. That I was cool with some people, and he was cool with them too. And sometimes we came across with each other, but I was never cool with him to that point. And I remember when you told me you're gonna let this nigga do that to you.
So you're gonna let him do that to you?
And I was like, and I'm like, he's right.
Because I was like, if not, I'm gonna have to do something. Because it's like, we can't tolerate disrespect like that. Even though, because then again, I always thought too that maybe I kind of like forced you to do something when I shouldn't have. But because in my head, like until you bring it up today, I thought like you knew him and you were cool. You guys fuck around like that, and he did that to you in front of me, and I told you you're gonna let him do that to you, and that's why you did what you did. But
No, I didn't fuck with. I knew him, and I was cool with him, but I wasn't that cool with him for him to do that shit to me. I don't know why he thought he could get away with that.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know.
I just didn't. I don't know. Me. If you weren't there, maybe I wouldn't have done nothing. I would have been like, whatever. If I seen him the next time, I would have been like, well, why'd you do that or whatever. And then if that led to something, then whatever. But I didn't feel like. I never feel like I want to be the one that steps into unless he physically touches me, then it's different. But when you told me that, I'm like, man, he's right. He's right, because then because your perspective is different from my perspective. So from me, I took it as like, it's fucked up that he did that, right? I'm not sure why maybe he thought it was somebody else. I don't know. But I start thinking about all kinds of different shit and try to justify what he did, or maybe it's like an accident before I take it another notch up, right? But as soon as you told me that, in my head, I'm like, okay, it was more disrespectful than I even thought. So now I, especially because now, I seen it from, you told me from your perspective, like, you're gonna let this nigga do that to you? And I'm like, oh, now I had to do something. So then I'm like, okay. So I picked my shit up real quick, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And then we ran, because he had already cut the corner. Yeah,
because you took off running. You took off running after I told you that. And you had your book in your hand. And after you were running, I was running behind you. And then I was like pushing people to the side. Because I didn't know what you were going to do. I was like, I'm thinking like you're going to fight, right? So I have to be there just in case everything's whatever. It got to go smooth. So I'm going and you're running. And then you hit that
the corner.
Yeah, you hit that corner. And then you can say what you did.
And then, so then he was going downstairs. No, he was going upstairs. He was walking on the stairs. He was going upstairs, but he stopped running. I think he thought we weren't chasing him anymore. Or he didn't know.
I don't think he knew we were chasing him.
So he was walking up the stairs. He had his back to me, and I had my book in my hand. And then I just grabbed my book, and I just hit him in the top of the head with it.
But I remember you hit him hard as shit.
I hit him in the back of the head.
Hit him hard as shit
with the book, and then he turned around shocked because he didn't know what the hell had just happened. He turned around and then he seen me, and I remember he had like a little curly fro looking thing, and he was just rubbing it. He just kept walking, rubbing his head. He didn't say shit. He just kept walking.
But he seen you?
He seen me. He turned around. He seen me, because as soon as I hit him, he turned around and he just started rubbing his head, and he kept walking up. He didn't say nothing. He just kept walking, rubbing his head, and then that was it. And there's no need to pursue or do nothing, because
it's over there.
Yeah, like
you got your get back.
I do my little tit for tat type shit.
Yeah, because I'm like, it just has to be respect. That's what it has to be, and that's how there's always been. It's like it has to be respect. And when somebody shows, like, I don't know, like I said, it's because we come from Stockton. Again, I'll say it again, because people may not understand. Like, his perspective was like, oh. It could have been like, oh, funny, right? It's just a joke. Fuck it, like, throw his shit on the ground, fuck with him. But from our perspective, you can't do that. In Stockton, you can't do that. You're asking for a fight. You can't just disrespect somebody like that. So when he did that to you, it's my head, I'm thinking Stockton wise, right? He just threw your shit on the floor, and then you were gonna let it slide. And I said, no, you had to do something.
Because in my head, yeah, I probably. Looking back, I think if you weren't there, maybe I wouldn't. Yeah, because my head, I was thinking, trying to justify like what I do to this nigga. Have I done something to him where he just got even, or I don't know. My head's always thinking of like a million scenarios, trying to justify or try to tell myself. Like, I'll have to think about it for a little bit to be like, okay, no, yeah, you were a bitch. You should have done something. But it takes me a little bit to
flip that switch, huh?
Yeah, like, unless it's like, if somebody hits me, like if somebody hits me, then it's there's no thinking, because you hit me. There's no justification for you putting your hands on me.
But like, when it comes to like disrespect, you have to evaluate how disrespectful was.
Yeah, to see, because I never want to hurt no one. I always feel like I never want to hurt no one. I've always felt like I never want to hurt no one. So in order for me to hurt you, it's like, I always think like, is it worth it? Is it worth me hurting this dude? Because if I hurt whoever I want to hurt, right, for whatever reason, if I hurt him, what's that going to bring in the future? Whether it's like beefs, because I don't know why, maybe I
Because
overestimate
you kept
people.
blinking into.
I keep thinking about Stockton, like, if
Yeah.
I fuck with that dude, the repercussions of that it's not only me, it's everyone that I fuck with. And because I'm always thinking like that, my head always thinks like, you fuck with him, that's gonna bring this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah, because that's how it is in Stockton. You fuck with somebody, next thing you know, we got 5 people that don't like you.
Yes.
And then it's like you fight somebody and it's not over. You think it's over, but then somebody else pulls up just because they run with the same crew, and then you got to throw down with them too. So that's why you have that same mentality, because that's how it is. But in high school, like I said, it had to be respect. And I know there was people that respected me automatically because of you, automatically. But also I felt like people knew me too. And it was like equal. It was like, it was respect on both ways, because they'd be like, oh, that's your brother, right? And then people would ask you the same thing, oh, that's your little brother. Because it just, a lot of times it's because coming from Stockton. Like I used to be more short-tempered. I used to be like, I used to have a short fuse. And I remember one time too, when we were going to 7-Eleven, because in high school, this high school, it lets you leave the high school for lunch, give you like 30 minutes and they let you leave. And I was with you because we had the same lunch, and we had went to 7-Eleven, and it was me, you, and one of your friends. He was a tall kid. And we were walking back, and I don't know if one of those kids knew you or the other kid that was with you, but he said something like, what'd he say?
I don't know.
I think he
'cause
said
you were
something.
in front of me.
He said, look at this gay
look
kid or
at
some
that.
shit like
Yeah,
that.
he said, look
look
at
at this
something.
gay ass kid or something like that. Now, right away, that's hella disrespectful, right? And I didn't know who he was saying it to, but because he said it to one of us, that's automatically disrespectful to me too, because I'm walking with y'all. And at this time, I'm the youngest out of the group. And these guys I think they were older than me. And I don't remember what I told him. I told him, what? Fuck you, bitch. Like, what's up? Or something like that. And right away, you could tell, like, he didn't expect that to come from me. But to me, it's like, it goes back to Stockton shit. You can't do that. So right away, I got offended. And I was ready to take it wherever he wanted to take it.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't know, because it happened so fast, right? You're walking in front of us, and I heard him say something, but I didn't know what he said, and I didn't know who he was saying it to.
Me either.
And
Wow,
then,
you knew him? Because
no,
I
know.
definitely didn't know him.
I didn't know who he was, but I do remember he said something. I didn't even know what he said. I didn't even know he was talking to us. I heard him say something. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. He said something, and then you went off, and I'm like, I don't know what he said. And then I just heard you say like you wanted to fight with him because you were like, what's up, bitch? Whatever. And he's like, I wasn't even talking to you guys. I was talking to some shit. And you were like, oh, I don't give a fuck. What's up? And then they didn't want to fight. And then that's where it ended. But I remember that.
Thank you for listening to the AB podcast. You can follow us in the links below. All our social medias are linked there. If you want to buy some merch, the merch that we're usually wearing in the podcast, you can buy it as well. The link will be below.